Hello, and welcome to Reddit on Reddit.
Oh.
I'm Nelson Ellingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
This is a very refined start. This is very uncharacteristic.
I didn't want to go with my usual pep. You know why.
Yes, of course. Shall we just rip a Band-Aid off?
I know this might be a bit insensitive, but should we do the announcement bugle?
Look, I suppose it is an announcement. We need it like in a minor key.
Yeah. The tone of this bugle should not be reflective of the message.
Yeah. So I'll start by saying people that are long-term listeners to the show or have listened to every episode, they'll be familiar with my cat Megs. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, Megs passed away this week.
Yeah.
So we wanted to mention it because he was a part of the show.
He was part of the show.
Normally trying to ruin it in some way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really sad. He was good, even though he legitimately hated me.
He did hate you.
He was a happy cat in his own right. And he very much loved Stacey and stuff. And it's just very sad that he's passed away.
Yeah. I do feel like when he passed away, like a little bit of my heart went with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was a nice cat, but I saw from afar.
And this is the wild thing. Like, Meg was a grumpy cat.
Yeah.
But generally, like, he would just, like, kind of avoid people he didn't know.
Yeah.
But he hated you.
Yeah,
he would come over to you and just hiss.
Yeah.
Alan, largely ignored.
Our
friend Eden, when he comes over, largely ignores. When you walk, he's like, you.
Hey, you. I would, like, bend down. I'd put my hand out for him to, like, you know, sniff and often as cats do, rub up against, like, rub their face against. And he might even sometimes do that. He would, like, rub against, like, slightly.
Yeah, he'll check it out.
He would sit back. And then just hiss at me. Trying to be polite.
And what's even funnier is the hate that he had for you extends to he damn near tried to ruin your relationship.
Yeah, he did.
At the very start.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've ever told this story, but when you first got with your now fiance, Alan, you were cat sitting.
Yeah.
Megs.
Cat sitting Megs.
And we were not aware of, like, how bad his behavior had been.
Yeah.
Until we received a text message from you, like, the next morning.
Yeah. So that night I had Ellen over, and I think it was like the first time Ellen had come over, since we could started dating. Mm-hmm. It's like second or third day maybe. Mm-hmm. And we were going to sleep at night, and Megs just really wanted to come into the bedroom, and he would not take no for an answer.
Yeah.
So he just kept like
determined.
scratching at the door for like ages and ages. And because I was only like new, you know, I had just started dating Ellen, I was like, I don't know how to handle this because I don't think I should let him in because I didn't know how she felt. She had said she's like allergic to cats. So I was like, well, probably not a good idea to like let him in at night while I was just trying to sleep. So then I just kind of ignored it for ages. And then Ellen eventually was like, just let him in. And so I was like, okay. So we let him in. And then he had also found prior to this like a space in my wardrobe above like some shelving. And he decided to, this must have been like 2:00 in the morning or something. Like, so then he got onto the bed and then he decided to, we must have like fallen back asleep kind of a little bit or something. And so we woke up to Megs who had jumped into the cupboard doors because like, I don't know, he, like maybe it was ajar slightly and he was like, I can make this. But he could not. And so that scared the shit out of us and woke us up. And I think maybe even then there was like a little bit of time after that where, or maybe it was the next morning or something, but Ellen was like patting Megs and he was enjoying it. Mm-hmm. And then just scratch her.
Yeah. That's the classic Meg's maneuver, which is he'll coax you in.
Yeah.
And then once you're close,
Yeah.
Gets
like, you're in the danger zone now. Anyway,
you get now getting married to Alan.
Yeah.
And he'd have hated that.
He would have hated that.
He would have hated that.
That's kind of the silver lining in that he'll be glad that he's not around to see it. I think, You know?
Yeah, he said, over my dead.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But yes, don't worry. This is not going to be a sad episode.
Not gonna be a sad
But we
episode.
just wanted to bring up Simon because we miss him.
Yes.
Anyway.
Poor Megs. We need a somber announcement bugle.
We need a sad announcement bugle.
Yeah. We've got now until Bandit dies. All right, Cambo. It was Valentine's Day.
Yes. Yeah.
Just by the way, just in case you didn't know. So I've made this a Valentine's Day episode.
Which is fun. This is going to... You know what? I'll save it till after this first post, I think, actually.
Okay. This one's... Well, I've actually got a couple, I think, because I thought that there was no one amazing Valentine's Day post, so I thought I'd just throw in a few of them. This first one was by Netpasta, and it was in the subreddit Petty Revenge. Using my phone number for your reservation for V-Day? Not this time. I have a pretty easy Google Voice number that people tend to use to make reservations. Okay, just before I continue, what does that mean?
This is not such a thing in Australia. In fact, I don't think it is active in Australia.
Right.
But yes, you can have like Google phone numbers.
Right.
We looked at setting up for a podcast one time at my work.
Right.
We wanted people to be able to leave messages.
Okay.
And so you can kind of set up like a proxy phone line through Google.
Oh. And so it's
we-
just an easier number than the normal like mobile phone number?
I don't know
or-
enough about it, to be honest, but we were looking it up because in one of the podcasts we were making, there was a fictional character.
Yeah.
And we wanted to have a phone line that people could call and leave him a message.
Yeah, right.
That was the idea we were looking at, and Google Voice was the only service that seemed to be able to do it free.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But when we looked into it, we couldn't set it up from within Australia.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Apologies for my naivety, listeners. Anyway, I've gotten hundreds over the years, and it's mildly not... Do you reckon his number is just one? Because, like, surely that's the easiest.
Or 80085.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, I've gotten hundreds over the years, and it's mildly annoying. There's usually a link in the confirmation text messages to cancel, which I always do on the day of the reservation. This last Tuesday, I got a text saying that my reservation was confirmed for today, except I didn't make one and I don't live in that city. So I patiently waited to cancel it today. Today I got another text saying, your reservation is at 6 p.m. Click the link to cancel. Well, bud, your girl is going to be pissed. You were too lazy to use your own number because tonight's reservation just got cancelled. Happy V-Day, chump. No Mexican food dinner for you. How? I don't understand. I could understand using a number at times where I'm like, I do not want the communication from this. Sometimes it's like, you ever go to a store and you're like... And they're like, hey, if you sign up today, you get 10% off these pants. And you're like, sick. My name is Belson Bellingham. And my number is 0000. So those are the times where I'm like using a fake number. If I'm making a reservation for a restaurant, I'm like, I think I would want them to call me should anything come up.
Yeah,
or...
that's an odd one.
Yeah.
You're right. If I think I'm going to get marketing emails.
Yeah.
Yeah, use fake whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's information like this.
If it seems important, you gotta, Anyway, so I thought that was pretty funny. Good.
Yeah, that's what a great passive aggressive
Petty Revenge. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Petty Revenge. That's right. Yeah.
Here's another one. This was in the subreddit r/meIRL or Meerl, as the cool kids say. Hold on. Oh, and it was by Hold On Pain Ends. This was actually a Twitter post by Slate at Please Be Genius. It's probably nice. Saw a couple walking into Trader Joe's. The girl said, wow, look at all the pretty flowers. And the guy replied, oh, yeah, it must be flower season. Please pray for him.
So this is the point I was going to make. Is Valentine's Day this week. Earlier this week was when Meg's passed away.
Yeah.
And a lot of people very nicely sent us flowers.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of flowers in our house.
Yeah.
Normally on Valentine's Day, I would go get Stacey a bunch of flowers.
Yeah.
And I even said to her, I was like, I was going to get you a bunch of flowers, but it seems weird to add like your flowers to a bunch of other flowers for Meg's. So I end up just getting the single rose to be like, here's a token of like the gratitude. But I just want to, like, I'm not trying to be cheap. It just genuinely seemed kind of weird.
Maybe this was the perfect opportunity to buy another cat. That would have been sick. Could you imagine how quickly she would have slapped him? Yeah. Also, flower season is just quite funny.
Yeah.
This guy's got no idea. It's not even just that he's missed Valentine's Day. It's just that he's got no idea about the world.
But you know what? He's trying to continue. Like, he's trying to have a go at this conversation.
Yeah. Hey, give him credit for that, I suppose.
He didn't go, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this was by Shrek Music, and it was in the subreddit Mildly Interesting. How empty the wife Valentine's Day cards section is compared to husband.
Yes, I saw this. This is a photo of the card section.
Yeah.
And it was split up. What I found funny is husband and wife weren't next to each other.
Oh, yeah, there was like a section in the middle.
Yeah.
Mistress, I think. Yeah. That was empty. Totally empty.
Totally empty.
It is funny how that works. And Cam, I just want to say, why can't we have a men's day? Why can't there be a day for men?
You've been saying this for a few years now. And often as well.
And the more I think about it, the more it seems to feel like as a society, we should acknowledge men more.
That is, I would say, why isn't there International Men's Day is the second most common thing you say. The first is obviously you can't say anything these days.
I do say that,
humor is illegal, you often say.
Yeah. It is funny. I did think immediately after I saw this post too, that I was like, shit, I didn't actually get Ellen a card. Did you get Stacey a card?
No, I got her flower and chocolates. The classic.
Yeah. I got Ellen flowers. But I was like, maybe I should have got a card.
Yeah.
I feel like the card is nice.
Yeah, it's funny.
To do, and I just don't really
You and I have this same, like, emotional block of cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Stacey will go out of her way to, like, go to a nice shop to get a good card for someone.
Yeah. Do you know what I think
right
it
on a
is?
Scrap piece of paper. Or just tell it to them.
Yeah. Text.
Happy birthday.
That's why I invented text messaging. Okay. I think what's funny is my lack of empathy for cards is not lack of empathy cards. There's plenty of those. Is because my dad actually used to work for a greeting card company.
Yeah.
And I think for some reason I just thought, well, nobody normally, like no other families normally send this amount of cards. It's just that we had like an abundance of cards all the time at home. We never had to purchase any, right? Dad just had them.
Yeah.
And so I thought we're kind of just giving them out because we've got them.
Yeah, okay.
Not because you should like birthday was different, I think. You know, that just seemed like, everybody, you know, when you're a kid, you get a birthday card from everyone and it just says, Dear Nelson, happy birthday from Liam. I think maybe I just thought, I don't know, they weren't as special as I think some people think they are now.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't as such a big part of their life. They didn't see greeting cards constantly throughout the day. So when they got one, it was a nice kind of sentiment. Yeah. If I got one, I was like, ugh. Dad, I guess you want to get a look at the embossing on this one. Pretty cool, right?
Who got you this? This is trash.
Yeah. Definitely as a kid, I spoke about greeting cards more than the average kid. Anyway, I've got one last one. It is from Little Red Bird in the subreddit 2X chromosomes. Just got dumped right after sex on Valentine's Day. I had sex for the first time with the guy I was seeing, and then immediately after, while we were still naked, he said he isn't ready for a relationship and we should end it there. I got dumped while naked after spending hours on my hair and makeup right after sex on fucking Valentine's Day. Hope you all have a better one than I'm having.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's pretty crazy.
And I hate to say it, but that guy knew going in.
Yeah, he's like, I'm ending this.
Yeah.
But like that night?
That's crazy. That is sociopathic levels of...
That guy was like, he went in and he's like, I'm going to tell my friends that I've done this. Before he even did it.
Yeah, probably.
That's the douchebag level that happened.
Yeah, you're probably right.
He's like, I'm going to sleep with this girl and then break up with her and then tell all my friends that's what I did. Which makes me think he's got to be like 20.
Oh, yeah. I realized that I had already silently decided that. Yeah.
His age. Yeah. We know his age. He didn't write it. Nobody wrote it down. We know his age. Anywho, that was all the Valentine's Day posts I have. Or is there more, Cambo? Wait to find out. Let's get into Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. Not this subreddit. I couldn't find anything in Ask Reddit for this. This is... Wait, did I? No, I didn't. Okay.
I don't know what that just was.
A Valentine's Day post, I was trying to think.
Okay.
Because I copied and pasted a few, and anyway, I was just double checking that I didn't actually do it. Okay. What's a rule in your house? Oh, this was my... really just buggered this first bit up. This is by Human Roll 9407. You can edit that first bit out, right?
Yeah.
What's a rule in your house growing up that you thought was normal but turned out to be very strange?
Oh. And then there's a note that I'm assuming you've put here.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to remind myself of things I'm going to say because I often forget about it. The note is fruit. And the reason why I wrote fruit is because when I was younger, my mum, and I think it was very good that she did this, we would always have fruit after dinner. Mm-hmm. Every single night. We wouldn't even always have dessert necessarily. Yeah. As kids, we always wanted ice cream with magic.
Oh, Ice Magic.
Ice Magic.
Yeah.
That was the best shit ever. And you know what? It didn't even taste that good.
No. It was the gimmick.
But it froze cool.
Look, I don't know whether this is a regional thing or a generation thing, but I'm sure there are people that don't know what Ice Magic is.
Yeah.
Essentially, chocolate sauce that you would put on your ice cream and then it would like instantly...
It would harden. Yeah. Anyway, it was cool, but it just didn't taste good.
It didn't taste good, but also like it was harder to eat.
It was so much harder to eat.
The thing about non-hardened chocolate sauce is it just melts into your ice cream.
Yeah. But then you had to like
crack the top of
stab it with your spoon.
Yeah.
And then it would squish out the ice cream underneath.
Yeah. But the marketing was genius enough that every kid, if someone pulled out Ice Magic, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Anywho. So, I always just thought that was like a normal thing. That after dinner, everybody has fruit. That's the thing. And then I remember I was playing a game with some friends. This is like the first time I realized that it wasn't a normal thing, which is when I was playing the game. You know the game Taboo? You have to guess.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Somebody's got a card with a word on it. They have to get you to guess what that word is.
Yeah.
Their word was supper. And they said, you have it after dinner. And I said, fruit. And they were like...
What?
And they kind of like paused the game for like a second. And my other friend who was there, he's like, yeah, his family's so weird. They have fruit. It's just so funny. Anyway, that's what
your friend ratted you out real quick.
Yeah. He called me loser fruit, which coincidentally is a Twitch streamer. Anyway, all right. So I thought I'd go through some. Can you think of any from your?
I don't know if I can think of rules. But certainly like where I grew up, we lived on a dirt road and we were surrounded by a lot of paddocks. And I feel like my day-to-day weekend stuff, as I got older and moved into a suburb, I was like, oh, people don't really ride motorbikes around. And people, like, that was just generally what was always around our street.
Okay, yeah.
So I would say there wasn't a rule, but some of, like, my day-to-day childhood occurrences, I'm like, oh, that was actually, this is not a normal suburban kid thing.
Yeah, okay, right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Like for a while, we kept horses in our backyard for about 2 months.
Oh, no, everybody does that. Yeah.
We did not live on a farm, by the way. We had a half-acre block. But there was some paddock upgrades, and this guy's like, oh, can we keep the horses in here? Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
Yeah. That's not normal. Normally it's kangaroos.
Yeah.
Horses, get out of here. Anyway, I just thought I'd read some comments from some people who commented on this post. This one's by Inanna's Pocket. We were only allowed ginger ale if we were sick or on an airplane. It wasn't common, but we would occasionally get soda. But ginger ale was special, I guess. I was well into my 20s and had an epiphany one day that I'm a grown adult with my own money. I can just go buy a ginger ale if I want to.
Now, to me, I would have thought this was... I mean, I don't know why they weren't allowed to have it.
Yeah.
But ginger ale kind of settles you if you're a little bit queasy.
I think it's one of those old wives' tales things.
Yeah,
where
most
I think
likely.
it's like, is it meant to be flat too? I remember in our house it was like flat lemonade.
Yeah, but you ate fruit after
It's like,
dinner.
yeah, you can't trust anything. Yeah.
But I'm saying it makes sense that the mum would be like, oh, if you're feeling sick or maybe like air sickness or something like that, ginger ale.
Yeah.
But it seems weird to say, but you can't have it otherwise.
Never. Yeah, otherwise. Yeah, that is a weird thing because that to me makes it seem like the mother and or father was like, this is medicine. You should have it when you're sick, but no other time because you shouldn't abuse medicine like that.
Did you have something in your house that you... okay, here's a weird thing that I've just realized. Did you have something in your house that like was kind of seen as a bit fancy and then when you grew up, you're like, oh, that wasn't fancy at all?
Yeah.
For some reason, and I think it was just because of my dad's preference, like taste, but occasionally if we had the drink Portello, you'd be like, oh, Portello, okay, this is now it's getting fancy.
This is
and
fancy.
I think my dad just liked Portello and occasionally would get it.
Yeah.
But to us, that seemed like, oh, that now it's fancy. we have
funny.
Portello now. Okay.
That's so funny.
Which is like, what even flavor is that? It's like...
I'm surprised that you liked it as kids, actually, because I didn't think it was a very, like...
I reckon I, like, forced myself to drink it because I thought it was
you
fancier.
thought it was fancy.
Yeah.
Well, did it come in a fancier bottle?
No.
Or something? Yeah. I didn't...
It's just like Kirk's brand or something.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. This is by Jives. Everyone takes an afternoon siesta. Turned out my grandma was narcoleptic and her kids got used to napping with her. I mean, that's kind of good, though. I would love if I grew up in a world where it's just like, just have a nap whenever you want. That'd be great.
This next one I think we've talked about before, I believe.
Maybe.
From Relevant Package. It says, don't feed friends. If friends came over after school, we weren't allowed to offer them snacks or drinks. My parents didn't want them to eat all our food. As an adult, I feed everyone. I offered food to my kids' friends. I find it so weird that my parents were so stingy. We weren't broke growing up. We were well off. I never minded feeding kids who came over. Now, we've talked about this before, haven't we, about people that went over to like their friend's house and their friend went and had dinner with their family.
Oh, I forgot about
And
that.
it was like it was something with their culture. It was like a cultural thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, I had forgotten
oh
about
yeah,
that.
guests don't get fed.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's
Which
what
is
this is.
so crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't
yeah,
it?
especially you come from an Italian family.
Yeah. My mum would...
If you look at your mother, she'll feed you.
Yeah, exactly. There's already a spoon in your mouth filled with pasta. Yeah, it is funny coming from the opposite side of that, where it was like my mum would be so horrified. Like she would feel guilty if somebody came over and just like wouldn't eat at all.
Yeah.
You know. No matter how long they're there for. They could be like 5 or 10 minutes. And my mum, I should say, is not like crazy stereotypically Italian. Like when she came over from Italy, she came over when she was 18.
Yeah.
Like she didn't, and she didn't really integrate herself that much with like the Italian community in Australia, because you can come over from Italy and still basically be a truly authentic Italian because we have such a big Italian community.
Yeah, and there are like areas
Melbourne
in every city. Yeah, Melbourne has one as well. That's like, it is just the Italian section.
You could pretty much go your whole life probably in Melbourne only speaking Italian, and in certain, you'd still have to be in certain parts, but so
we keep them there.
So yeah. So my mum's like we didn't have a big Italian family type thing, which is kind of the stereotypical Italian thing too. Like we didn't. It was just us. I had some uncles and stuff, but we only saw occasionally, and it wasn't really like a big Italian thing. But the one thing about making sure people eat was the most stereotypical Italian thing of my mum. Yeah. Is like, she'd feel bad if they came over and just had nothing.
Now, we have your wedding coming up soon.
Yeah.
Wedding's normally catered.
Yeah.
But, like, would your mum bring a dish?
Yeah, obviously.
Just in case.
Yeah. Just in case they didn't have enough. There'd be another side of potatoes that she brings. No, but she will comment on the food probably. I wanted to get to one last one here, which was by Snap Willow. They said, every Thursday evening was fancy dinner, at which there were so many more rules than dinner than the rest of the week. The rest of the week, the rules were just don't be messy and don't be rude. But fancy dinner meant dress nicely, no swearing, sit up straight, only talk about polite subjects, elbows off the table, etc. I was confused why we mostly had casual dinners, but my parents insisted on fancy dinners even when we didn't have company. Now, as an adult, I know what they were doing. They wanted us to have upward class mobility. They were making us practice our manners so we could make a good impression on fancy people when needed. I was grateful for it when I sat down for an academic awards dinner with some of my college professors and was able to talk easily and feel good because I recognized a fancy dinner when I saw one. And like a sleeper agent who just heard my code word, I knew exactly what to do.
They wax on, waxed off them.
They wax on, wax off them. Do you know what? I would love to speak to this person's parents. Because to me, I think he's overthought that dramatically. I think the parents are like, fuck, these kids are so annoying. He's literally said, fancy dinner meant dress nicely. Okay, whatever. Yeah. No swearing. Right, so you swore all the time. That's really sit up straight, only talk about polite subjects because they were talking about rubbish, elbows off the table. Like, of course... This isn't a like, oh yes, we must teach our child to eat in a polite manner so that should they ever go upwards in class, they will know how to act. I'm like, that's bullshit. They just wanted your parents wanted a nice dinner once a week.
Fancy dinner seems to me the parents going, just give us one.
Yeah.
Just give us one.
Just one night. And like, as if you
Hey,
needed
fuck
to,
you, Mum.
Yeah. As if you... I mean, I guess it depends on where you are in the world and how you've been brought up and stuff, but I would say no one needed to teach me how to act at a fancy dinner before I went to a fancy dinner. I was like, I will just be more polite as people generally are. I'm not going to swear.
I had seen that scene in Titanic where Jack goes to the fancy dinner.
We get it.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I do that stuff.
Yeah. It's just funny that... he felt as though it was like, this is a lesson they're teaching me. Very wise, old parents. No. You were just a cunt most of the time.
Couldn't we say that at fancy dinner, Nelson?
Yeah. Well, I'm not at a fancy dinner now, Cambo, obviously. All right, let's get into Today I Advice. So now it's time for Today I Learned. Today I learned. And also sometimes advice. We're back on Valentine's Day, Campbell.
Yes.
This one was by Objective Ad 6551. Today I learned that in Japan, women give chocolates on Valentine's Day, but men must return the favor on White Day. Racist. March 14th. Often with gifts 3 times the value. There's obligation chocolate for coworkers and true love chocolate for crushes. Some women even keep receipts to track repayments.
Wow.
It seemed like a kind of weird, nice thing maybe, and then turned into...
Keeping of receipts to track payments. Obligation chocolate is such a brutal name.
Yeah. Here you go. Here's your obligation chocolate because I work with you.
To be clear.
But goddamn it, Damien, you suck at your job.
To be clear, I do not want to do this.
Yeah.
Custom says I have to do this. Here is your goddamn chocolates.
I think it's so great that, like, I love hearing about how other countries have customs for the same days that we do, right? Yeah. Because there's a today I learned in a Japanese version of Reddit that's like, do you know that men give roses to women on Valentine's Day? And they're like, what? Where's the obligation chocolate?
When do they have White Day?
Yeah. Like, oh, we got him White Day. I mean, that's not allowed. So I think this is so fascinating. It makes you think about how traditions like this are formed, right?
Yeah.
Because this is kind of like, don't they say like Valentine's Day is like a Hallmark day? You know, like Hallmark created, or perhaps not created the day, but made it a big deal.
Yes, Valentine's Day, I believe, was Valentine a saint, perhaps?
Yeah. Valentine.
So I think there was a day of him, like there is for a lot of saints.
Yeah.
And yes, I believe it was, probably Hallmark, but the consensus is some kind of greeting card company.
Yeah.
It was like, well, the tradition is that you give our product on that day.
Yeah.
Like in the same way that like De Beers created
the engagement
ring.
Yeah.
Like they are things that are now, if you don't do them, are social faux pas, but to be clear, are marketing.
Yeah. So it makes me think like, so did like Cadbury just get into Japan at the right time?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, like KFC with Christmas.
That's so good. I love that in Japan too.
Yeah, in Japan, for those that don't know, KFC is a really popular Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
You have to book like weeks, months in advance to get it.
Yeah.
How did they do that?
Yeah.
How did they
that
get
is
in there
amazing. Yeah.
at the right time to make that a thing?
Yeah. It's very strange. But so I love this. And obviously that stuff seems so weird to us. But like we have the same weird things.
Yeah.
Even like just from an outsider perspective, I think Halloween's fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't really do it here that much, but we're starting to do it more. But just that idea of like knock on people's door and they give you candy. That's bizarre if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
But again, like the cultural, like the history of it, it's like, there is something there that is like a historical tradition.
It's pagan.
How did the candy companies in America get a hold of that?
Be like, you know what we should do? Yeah. That's right. I think it's amazing. And I don't know. Now I'm trying to think for like even just things like, right? Like if say Thanksgiving or maybe our Christmas. Again, maybe more Thanksgiving more. Like, is it weird from an outsider perspective to say, hey, do you know one country once a year they just all eat turkey? That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Like what's our equivalent where it's a holiday?
We sort of do that at Christmas. I'd say more like ham is like more.
Yeah, we don't have a Thanksgiving though. But like, do we have an equivalent specific?
We have White Day.
We don't talk about that often.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Like we have the standard like Australia Day. America has Independence Day. Canada has Canada Day. Like they're pretty standard.
Oh no, you know what ours is?
Yeah.
Ours is close enough. Is the democracy sausage that we have when we go vote.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
At a national election.
Yep.
yeah, we when we
Do
go vote,
not confuse them with a hardware sausage when you go to a hardware store on a weekend. They're different sausages.
I had the worst day of my life yesterday because I did go to the hardware store and they just finished packing up.
Oh, that is terrible.
That was the worst day of my life.
Like, surely we've talked about the democracy sausage on here before.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like it is such a specific. I would love to know if other countries do something similar.
Yeah.
I know Americans, I see it on social media all the time, they get a sticker because I voted. That's the
Lame.
They always
Get a
post
sausage, guys.
Ours, yeah, there's a sausage. Now, a big point of contention was that they used to be free or very cheap, like $1.
Right, yeah.
But
I don't
now-
think they were ever free. No.
I had been to at least one where they were just handing them out.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
But I don't think that's enough, but they were like,
Okay.
whatever. But now I think the last time I went, they were...
People are like, oh, the cost of living is crazy. You can't even get a democracy sausage that's under $2.
Yeah, I think that it was like $4
Yeah.
for a democracy sausage.
Yeah. So maybe that's a bit weird.
Hey, but it's the most Australian thing ever to be like, if we've got to vote, have a barbecue.
Yeah, that's right. Even if it's in winter, have a barbecue.
Have a barbecue.
Anywho, all right, let's move on, Camber, into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, 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 shower thoughts, 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 shower thoughts, 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 shower thoughts, thoughts, thoughts.
This shower thought is by I Make Things. Do what you love and the money will follow is boomer advice from the 1970s when a $16 loan from grandma could turn your ice cream stand into a multi-million-dollar business. Today, it's just horrible advice.
Yeah. I would also put the advice, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah. Like
That's not
everybody,
true. I do what I love.
Everybody works.
I love my job. I do what I, like, something I really want to do.
Yeah.
I still work. Like, there are times where you're like, fuck it, hell. Like, this.
Yeah. Everybody has to.
Yeah.
There was actually, this is slightly off topic, but on
Well, then
to
don't
what
say
you
it.
said is I was reading a Tim Minchin book.
Yeah.
Who's an Australian comedian musician. He's actually a very intelligent guy. I was reading his book, which I found out straight away he just did 3 speeches for school graduations or like university graduations. You know, they get like honorary
Alumni.
PhDs and stuff like that.
yeah, okay, yes, okay, yeah.
And so he'd done 3 and he just put them in this book. I was like, this is genius because you had to do very little work on this. He did like an introduction to each one, but otherwise it was just his speech.
Definitely just recorded the speech, gave it to someone, said, type that up.
do that, yeah.
Type that up, put my name on it.
Yeah. But he says, shit, now I've lost the point. Basically, it was just that, one of his speeches was he's presenting to like art students, you know, and actors and stuff like that. And he basically, his speech, he even says in the introduction, is like, it's a bit of a downer. But he's like, I just wanted to like potentially ease or, you know, comfort people that might eventually fall over in their career, realizing it's much more difficult and hard for them. I wanted to soften the blow, kind of. And he basically talks about it's a poem, but he talks about the idea of making your way in the actors industry, and it's all like positive, and you progress further, kind of thing. But there's things that you're stuck doing, like living in a bad place for a little while, or you know, and then. And you sort of like make some compromises about yourself maybe a little bit, and then you're on a TV show and it's doing really well, but then you struggle to go out because you can't, you know, be by, you know, people mug you on the street, or not mug you, you know, come up to you on the street and whatever. You don't have as much privacy, and then the TV show starts doing worse, and then you're not really in it for the, you know, the art of the show, but you can't remember the last time you delivered a line and it, you know, you felt something about it. And I just think it's interesting looking at that perspective too, you know, something that people might argue as being like a job that everybody might love, or, you know, is seen as is successful and, a good job to have, being an actor, a famous actor. and just sort of acknowledging that actually there's parts with that suck balls.
Yeah. And on that point, which I know is slightly off topic for what we're talking about, but there's nothing I respect more than when a show is at its peak and they go, we're going to end.
Yeah.
Well, I think Succession is a great example.
Yeah.
The 4th series of Succession was huge.
Yeah.
But he went, I reckon we're done.
Yeah,
I just don't think we could keep going.
Yeah.
But I am out of ideas and luster for it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to end it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say with this one, I think this shower thought is wrong.
Well,
because it says, do what you love, Molly Foley is a boomer advice from the 1970s when 16 Lola learned from your grandma could turn your ice cream into a multi-billion-dollar business, whatever. My thought is that's always been bad advice.
Yeah, but also...
I don't think it's something that is so inherently like, oh, yeah, you can, do it. Like, that's just always been terrible advice.
Yeah.
It's not that it's a boomer thing and it's like, oh, it's just because the times have changed. It seems, again, that generational gap thing of being like, oh, the boomers had it easier or the millennials have it easier. Yeah. It's like, no, this is just terrible advice that you think boomers thought was good advice, but they knew that it's not good advice anyway.
Yeah.
But
I feel like there may be misunderstanding the phrase because I agree that it's like way too simplistic, but I kind of read it as like, if you truly love something, you can find a way to make a career from that thing if you really try.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is necessarily bad advice.
Yeah.
But it's not just saying
it's not like you'll get rich off the thing that you love doing.
Like, I love bike riding. Well, just bike ride all the time and money will come.
Yeah.
No, it's saying like you could probably find a career that involves that training people. Like there is something that you can make money from your love. Mm-hmm. That's how I understood it.
I always think about Matt Mercer in that aspect, who's the dungeon master of Critical Role. Mm-hmm. Like, no one thought that you can make money off Dungeons and Dragons unless you were maybe selling the books.
Yeah.
But he's like, maybe if I just do this enough, now I'd say he's a millionaire.
Look, this person is a little bit less in the cultural zeitgeist these days. But I used to think about the parents of Ninja Blevins, who was a streamer who was very, very good, specifically at Fortnite. Because his parents at some point said, you'll never make money from this.
Yeah.
And he made so much money.
He made so much money.
An incredible amount of money because he was real good.
Yeah. Well, he was real good at marketing too.
Well, I
think as kind of.
But like, you just know he'd been told that before.
Yeah. Don't hear much about him these days.
No.
He kind of dropped. Actually, I think he got paid like millions of dollars to go to Kick.
Oh yeah.
But nobody really watches Kick. So
yeah. From my understanding, Kick is the streaming platform where they're like, we don't give a fuck what you do, just make money. Isn't it fairly unregulated with what they allow?
I think it's actually. I want to say Microsoft, but now I'm feeling bad about this.
I know there definitely is one that, like, when people get banned off Twitch, they go to a certain streamer because they're like, we don't care, just do whatever. I thought it was Kick,
might be a bit more lax in some senses. I don't know, but it's not. I mean, Twitch is not. Twitch pretended to have morals for a while until I think they kind of realized, like, they were like, oh yeah, you can't have like kind of sexual content stuff, but then they've got literally girls that are in like bikinis
like
being like, I'm in a hot tub thing, and you're like, okay, Twitch, what's going on with this one in particular? And they're like, nah, that's different. That's different because that's making a lot of money anyway. I think Twitch doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, okay. They're all like that.
They're all pretty much like that. It's like bar actual porn. It's you can watch that stuff. Anyway, all right, let's get into Podnapping.
Oh my God, I'm being podnapped.
Podnapping.
This is Podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a topic of conversation or a segment from another thing, and we do it ourselves. This week's my week, and last week you got one from Waves of Misery.
Correct.
Which is good. You kind of turned it into a website thingy that people could use to play the game as well. I went on to Discord after that, and
Begged, I would say. Is the
I
word.
would. Well, I was going to say guilted.
Oh, yeah.
Waves of Misery into providing me one, and I have to tell you, this is legitimate.
Yeah.
Nelson talking here. When I say that stuff, I'm being sarcastic and just joking, like, haha, give me a podnapping now.
Yeah.
But then Waves of Misery gave me like 4 in a row, and I was like, I've never felt so guilty in my life, like instantly guilty.
This
To
is
be
the
like,
thing.
hey, where's mine? And then they've said, here's all these podnappings.
This is the thing.
No.
I know you well enough
Yeah.
to know your tone.
Yeah.
But in simple black and white red, this is how it sounds. I said, thank you, Waves of Misery, for the thing. Here's the website. And then you said, where's your original message here? I'll read your second message.
Okay. Yeah.
When you said, hey, like, why didn't you give me? I think it's my turn.
Yeah.
And they replied saying, oh, yeah, I thought that you guys had a pretty tough time on your podnapping. And he said, oh, I meant he got a podnapping, so now it's my turn. You put he.
I put he.
It was a fun game, though, but yeah. I've still been trying to think of more named cats in comics, but like the first line seems so blunt.
Yeah.
No, I meant give me a podnap.
I mean, give me a podnapping. Waves of Misery.
I'll show you waves of misery. Anyway,
Waves of Misery gave me an idea, and I thank them very much for it. And I'm sorry for guilting you.
but guess what's going to happen next week?
Yeah.
Hey, waves of misery. Gave Nelson one, did you?
Anyway, okay, so they have suggested I get 3 Reddit posts, and one's a lie, and you got to tell me which one it is.
Okay.
And I've kept with the Valentine's Day theme, and these were all in relationship advice. So tell me which of these 3 is a big fat lie.
Okay.
My 26 female boyfriend, 29 male, got me a Valentine's Day gift, but it was clearly meant for someone else. So I need to know if I'm overreacting or if this is as weird as it feels. My boyfriend, let's call him Mark, and I have been dating for almost a year. This is our first Valentine's Day together, and I was honestly really excited. He's not the most romantic guy, but I figured he'd do something small and sweet. Well, he did get me a gift, but here's the problem. He gave me a gold necklace with the letter S on it. My name is Emily. There is no S in my name. No nicknames, no inside jokes, nothing that would justify this. I just stared at it for a second when I asked, what does the S stand for? He kind of panicked and said, sweetheart, because you're my sweetheart. I let it slide initially, but it's been eating away at me. I haven't confronted him yet. I don't even know what to say. Was this meant for an ex? A side chick? Did he panic? Just re-gift it to me? How do I even approach this? Is this as bad as it feels, or am I overthinking it? That was the first one.
Yeah.
My boyfriend, 33 male, now wants to join my girls' trip, 29 female, after everything is booked because of his mental health. I got invited to a girls' trip over Valentine's Day to do my hobby, which is mountain biking. I asked my boyfriend if he was okay with it, and he said it was up to me. We don't really do much for Valentine's Day, so I said I would like to go. He sort of freaked out after I planned it all, and we got into a fight. We talked it out, and it seemed like we were on the same page again. Today, he told me he wants to go on this girls' trip and is making me feel super guilty that I don't really want him to come. First, it's a girls' trip, and second, he doesn't like or do mountain biking. He also wants me to cover for him since he only has about $200 to spend on this trip. I feel like he's being unreasonable, but he keeps saying it's his mental health and he was looking forward to spending Valentine's Day together. I have twice as much vacation time, so I feel like if he does come on this trip, we won't have any vacation together as a couple. How do I navigate this situation? And the last one.
Yep.
She cancelled our Valentine's Day date last minute, but went out with her friends instead. Am I being played? 21 male and 20 female. I, 21 male, and my girlfriend, 20 female, have been together for about 3 months now. Today is Valentine's Day, and I put a lot of effort into planning a great evening for us. I didn't tell her exactly what I had planned, but she knew we were supposed to go out. At the last minute, she cancelled, saying it was a bit too late for her. We don't live together, so I get that time can be a factor. But here's the part that bothers me. She ended up going out with her friends earlier in the afternoon. The time she spent with them could have easily been spent with me. Now, everything I planned and paid for is wasted along with the presents I bought. So, Reddit, what do you think? Is she just playing me?
Okay. So we have the necklace with the wrong letter.
Wrong letter.
We have the guy trying to get onto the girls' mountain biking trip.
Yeah.
And we have the girl that cancelled plans but went out with her friends on Valentine's.
Yeah.
My nose is saying post 3.
Okay. Why does your nose? Why does your nose think that way?
Only the first thing that set me off, and this could just be human error, but
Okay.
it could also be AI slightly misdoing things, is the formatting of how you do
Oh, the
age
age.
and sex is wrong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It could be human error, but normally it's like me, whatever, and my partner, whatever. But this is
Yeah.
just stuck him at the end.
Okay. Yeah.
So that ticked me off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of the language seemed, weirdly Reddit's quite formal. Like when
Yeah,
people
right,
write
can
into
be.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not to say that every post has to be.
Yeah.
But of the 3, that was the least formal
Right.
written.
Okay.
And again, I can imagine a large language model
Yeah.
trying to make things more casual.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my guess is post 3 about the girl going out, especially because he said that he had done something for later, but then she ended up going out in the afternoon.
So it doesn't even make sense, like time-wise.
Yeah. And again, this could all be human error, like a badly written post.
Yeah.
I grant you that. But the other two seem to pass, if they are a machine, the Turing test for me.
Yeah. No,
Ah, God damn it.
Gambo. What's crazy is I would say the one that best reflects relationship advice is the lie AI one, which is actually the first post. In fact, I slightly edited it, ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this hits too many of the stereotypical nails on the head
Yeah.
of a post. So I had to like just delete a couple of lines.
Yeah, that one was good.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
It's written like exactly the way that you would, like you said, right? So the way that they've done the male female in the last one, actually, even in the second one is kind of weird. Actually, yeah, the second one I think is actually the weirdest of them all because they said, my boyfriend, 33 male, now wants to join my girls trip, 29 female.
I did.
But that would be usually my 29 female boyfriend,
girls,
33 male would, that's how it would continue. But yes, the other person also did put the ages in the title, but then again, I, 21 male, and my girlfriend, 20 female. So they kind of did it right there, but in the heading was wrong. But the AI post was like very clearly, my 26 female boyfriend, 29 male.
Maybe I should have known that's the one that made less mistakes.
Yeah.
Because it's been trained by so much.
Because it knows what a relationship advice post should sound like. But I love, again, I don't know. We talk about AI all the time. But it came up with the idea that somebody got a necklace
with the wrong
letter on it.
And the panicked lie was a really nice touch.
Yeah. Panicked lie. Yeah, that was great. And the fact that the model even thought to, because, in history, you could say AI was screwed up and it could even come up with this story, but then it might be like, oh, what does the S stand for? And it says, oh, for favorite, you're my favorite. It would do something dumb like that where it doesn't match up. But it's like, no, it matched the S with sweetheart and came up with like a thing. Do you know what I think gives this one away a bit? That's difficult to pick up on.
Yeah, it's I, robot.
Is my boyfriend, let's call him Mark, and I have been dating for almost a year. She never mentions Mark again.
Yeah, that's true.
So you might that I think is the biggest giveaway to be like, you only say let's go Mark if later on you're going to say and Mark said
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, it passed the sniff test.
Yeah.
My nose is an idiot.
Your nose knows nothing. All right.
Just absolute silence as you looked between one screen to another.
Yeah. All right, let's do the Ask Me Anything.
Okay.
We've got an intro, Cambo.
Yeah, all right. Hang on a sec.
You got the questions. We have the answers. So ask us anything at all.
This is the Ask Me Anything. The listeners of the show, just like you, listener, can write in and ask us anything you want.
Just like Liz has. Says, "Oi! Confession time." I assumed it was that level.
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't listened to the podcast since October or any of my daily, weekly, up-to-date podcast. I've been trying to hold out for when the US goes to hell in a handbasket this month and Anil is going to need some pick-me-ups. Sorry, we do talk about the politics a little bit a couple of weeks ago. Sorry about that. On to the AMA. How many hours of sleep do you get on the reg? I'm working third shift and get 2 naps of 2.5 to 3 hour naps a day instead of one big sleep.
Liz, you need more sleep.
Yeah, it's not enough.
I think the splitting your sleep up is totally valid. Mm-hmm. I think our idea of having just one big sleep a day is not necessarily the right way to do it. No other animals, I would say really, maybe some do. Anyway, I feel like it's not.
Bears just have one big sleep.
Yeah, that's true. We could all be like bears and just sleep for months. Yeah, but anyway, a lot of animals in nature nap during the day at least. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's a valid way to sleep. But 2.5 to 3 hours, that's 5 or 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's not enough, Liz.
No.
And you know what? This sleep is very important.
Yeah.
You got to get sleep.
I always aim for 8. Mm-hmm. I tend to get around 7, I reckon.
Right. Yeah. I'm actually probably closer to 9.
Yeah,
I get
that's good.
pretty much 9-ish most of the time.
I am an early riser.
Yeah.
I get up at about 10 past 5.
Yeah.
And I always have the best intention of going to bed enough to get the minimum 8.
Yeah.
But sometimes stuff will come up or whatever, and you go to bed a little bit later.
Yeah.
But on weekends and stuff, that I went to bed probably about 10:30 last night, and I woke up 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think. I get a decent amount, and I do think legitimate. There's a lot of research and stuff out there that's even for long-term issues of dementia, things like that. They say a lot of it can be tracked back to just people not sleeping enough during the day. So during their life, kind of. So it's actually really important. And even that idea of 8 hours a day, I think is not necessarily
That's what you base should be getting.
Yeah. Maybe your base, but
getting
more is not so bad either. So yes. Anyway, sleep more, Liz.
Yes, that's our advice to you.
Sleep now.
Okay, no one wait for
everybody. All right. So that was it for Ask Me Anything. Thank you for writing in, Liz. If you'd like to write into us, you can do so. readitpodcast, readitpodcast @gmail.com.
Yep.
You can also reach us at our subreddit or the Discord. Link is in the show notes.
Yep. And if you want a podnapping, tag Waves of Misery in our Discord and just really bluntly ask for it.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, and we will read you later.
And we miss you, Megs.
See you, Meg.